With Christina, and today we're going to be making a card, and I cut out from April Showers Cricut cartridge this little flower pot, and we're just going to go ahead and start putting our card together. I cut this out at 2.5 inches, and I just used a piece of off-white texture cardstock in a really light green color. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and put this together. So I'm just going to use my 2-way glue pen. First thing I have to do is just figure out which way this flower goes on here, because I always seem to have a hard time getting them lined up. So if I figure it out now, I won't have such a hard time later. Okay, so it goes like that. So I'm just going to use my tweezers and put some of the 2-way glue on the back. Okay, and then I'm going to use just my little Tombow adhesive here and add some adhesive to the back part of my little flower pot, and that'll get lined up right on the front, just like that. Okay, so now that I have that done, the next thing I have is this little piece of twine from Paper Tray ink, and I double bowed it so it has two bows together. So I'm just going to take some mini glue dots, and I'm just going to kind of roll the glue dot with my tweezers here, make it even a little smaller than it already is, and I'll add that right to the back of my bow, and then I'll go ahead and adhere that down to the front of my flower pot, just like that. So I'm just keeping this really simple. Oh, and just so you know, I did go ahead and added some inking around the edges of the off-white pieces, and I used Distress ink, the Tattered Rose. So that's that. So let me just go ahead, and we're going to go ahead and start cutting our cardstock for our card. And I'm going to make a 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 inch card. So I'm taking my 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock, and I'm just going to put it in my paper trimmer and cut it at 4 1/4 inches. Okay, and then what I'll do is bring out my score buddy, and then I'm going to score this at 4 1/4 inches. So that'll make our 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 inch card. Okay, so that's our card base. The next thing I want to do is, I'm going to put that away, I don't need that anymore, is I'm going to measure another piece of cardstock, or cut another piece of cardstock at 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. So I'm going to do this at 3 1/4, and then I'm going to turn it around and do another 3 1/4. So I have a 3 1/4 inch square, and then I'm going to use these Martha Stewart Around the Corner punch, and I don't know the name of this one. I'll have to look it up. And I have a tutorial on how to use these. I'll put a link to it right on the video here. So I'm just going to first start by punching my 4 corners. Okay, and then I'll use my edge punch here to do the sides. And now I'm using a craft cardstock, so it is kind of thick from Paper Tray ink, so it's really hard to punch, and plus I'm very weak. So go, one more side. I can't get this one. There we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is ink the edges of both of these. I'm going to start with this piece right here, my piece that I punched out, and I'm going to use my Tattered Rose Distress ink and just go ahead and ink up the edges to this. I'm also going to do my card, but first I'm going to use my corner chomper, and I'm going to do a 1/4 inch side of my corner chopper, and I'm doing all 4 corners to my card. And then I'm going to do the distress ink on this as well. Okay, so I just used my heat gun to kind of help dry the ink a little bit, and you could tell how much lighter it is from when I first put it on, and this one is still drying. So you could really still see the ink on this one, and this one's really blended in nicely. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and adhere this down to the front of my card, and I'm just going to do that with some dimensional adhesive. So I'm just going to put some right on the back. And I'm going to center that right on the front of my card. And then I'm going to go ahead and take my flower and put that on the front. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is add my sentiment, and I'm going to be using this paper tray ink stamp set. This is the Taggart's #1, and I'm going to be using the little hello there sentiment. So I already have that mounted onto my acrylic block, and I'm just going to use some brown chocolate chip Stampin' Up! Ink, and I'm just going to put that hello there sentiment, just want to make sure it stamps okay, right down in the corner. Just like that. So that's my card for today. Thanks for watching another episode, and I'll see you next time. Bye!